This was the first time I've ever heard about this. A love rat. Basically, a cheater. I could tell you someone really nasty and disloyal who cheats constantly without remorse, but that's all cheaters, no? The use of the term rat is to highlight the person's untrustworthiness, but personally, I think rats are kinda cute and they can be great pets. I guess it is used to describe someone who cheats multiple people at the same time. Please help me out here. Now the term I can get on board is the holiday love rat. When people go on a trip on a different country and they encounter a man that immediately falls in love with them, even though they are like 20 plus years younger. They push for a relationship while constantly asking for money. This is basically a catfish, only the picture actually checks out. They are scammers and they know perfectly well how to approach their victims to romance them and gain their trust so they could destroy their finances and self-esteem. The scam is so intense that they even marry their mark. Think Danielle and Mohammed from 90 Day Fiancé. Those two are the textbook definition of a green card marriage scam. But these women really thought they found the love of their lives and were immediately infatuated by their new lovers who proposed a new life together, not knowing they were not the only ones in their future husband's financial game. Like I said in the intro, it's basically a catfish situation, only not the MTV, but the Dr. Phil type of scam. Money and green cards are heavily involved in this couple's affairs, and it's the new lover who rushes the relationship into gaining control over the victim. This is Diane. She went to Sri Lanka for vacation, where she met a tuk-tuk driver and hotel employee named Priyanjana. He was 21 years old, but still asked for 54-year-old Diane's phone number in a romantic way. She thought nothing of it. Well, she was flattered. She was single, and this young man seductively approached her? Sure. But with your feet on the ground and observing your surroundings, you kinda know what's going on pretty quickly. Diane didn't see those signs. She gave him her phone number and nothing happened. Well, at least in Sri Lanka. Once Diane returned to Edinburgh, Scotland, he called her, and because his English was not good, he decided to send her letters telling her how much he wishes to marry her. In my opinion, that is more than creepy. I don't see the romance there. A complete stranger she met in another country decided to aggressively escalate their non-existent relationship?
Oh, hell no!
Well, the scheme worked on Diane. 7 months later, she went back to Sri Lanka to meet with her younger lover.
Tomorrow engagement. And I thought that we had to go to the registrar's office.
But at the registrar's office, it became clear Priyanjana had a different plan.
And then she started just reciting, do you take, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I discovered what was happening.
Diane was unwittingly taking part in her own wedding ceremony.
Tell me, what would you have done if you were in Diane's shoes? You think you're only visiting your new piece of ass because he kept telling you how much he wants you? So he, still a complete stranger, surprises you with a secret wedding. This reminds me of a picture of a man who was surprised by his girlfriend at the wedding. He didn't know he was getting married, by the way, and his face clearly tells you his thoughts. But in this case, it was different because Diane had never experienced a wedding of her own, so even though this is all super creepy and makeshift, she continued. According to Diane, Priyanjana was really nice to her and very attentive, so this made her actually want a marriage with this man. I guess she went back home and sent him £20,000 to start building a house in Sri Lanka. Then 2 years later, she sent more money to him, £131,000, money she made selling her own flat. She was homeless, but still thought she had a marriage. So Diane went back to Sri Lanka to see the future home he was going to share with her husband. But there was none. This dude took the money and put it on his tuk-tuk. I mean, scammer, but at least he's putting the money in his day job.
He spent more time at his mother's house than he spent with me, or he would go out with his friends, and he would never come home at night time, and it just wasn't working out. We were just arguing all the time about money.
Unable to return home, Diane started to realise this marriage may be a sham.
I don't want to be tough on this lady because she seems like she's really nice, but My god, this is so obvious. How could she not see all the signs? He is 21, she is 54. He lives in poverty in his native country, the country she is vacationing. And listen, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, right? Let's just say I don't see the couple being compatible in any way. 4 years passed and Diane met an interesting person, Priyanjana's other wife.
I felt betrayed. I thought he really loved me and that's why he married me, but obviously the marriage was never going to work because it was too big an age gap.
She still thinks this man had feelings for her and the only odd thing was their age gap. But things escalated. After Diane confronted Priyanjana about the second wife, he denied everything. But there was physical evidence of that other wedding. However, that wasn't the only trouble. Priyanjana told Diane he spent her money on security because gangsters were after him. He was in danger, and so did she. Things took a turn to the macabre when one of Priyanjana's friends was shot, and later, he was murdered.
I was shocked and stunned. I didn't know what to think because a lot of people were saying, oh, is he really dead? He's maybe hiding. Wait until you leave the country and then he's going to be with the other wife sort of thing. But he was dead. He hadn't faked his death or anything like that. His body didn't kind of look like him because I think they put too much embalming fluid in. So his body was all sort of swollen and puffed up, but it was definitely him.
Okay, so trigger warning here, I'm going to slightly talk about the embalming procedure, not showing anything of course. I researched about a body after being embalmed. What they do is remove the blood from the corpse and replace it with embalming liquid. This can make the body look swollen and possibly unnatural. Let's remember that even when we are asleep, there are still muscles active in our body. When we die, that's the ultimate muscle relaxation. So even without embalming, a body may look odd because those muscles are no longer working. So maybe Diane is right. Maybe that is actually Priyanjana. The other option is that to get away from Diane, he had to fake his death using another man's body. That is morbid, but not impossible. Diane escaped Sri Lanka, and I say that because she had no money in her pockets. Everything was under Priyanjana's name. Nothing was hers, but still, Priyanjana's family kept wanting more money from her. It took 2 years for Diane to have enough money to buy herself a plane ticket back to her country. After she escaped, she still had to face the reality of owning nothing. She had no home, no job, no nothing. Well, she had a family and friends supporting her.
I thought he was in love with me and I didn't listen to anybody. Some people might say, oh, he got what he deserved because he wasn't very nice to me, he treated me very badly.
It sounds so absurd how everything transpired with her story, but these cases are incredibly common. It is as if these scammers can smell their victims just by looking at them. Diane wanted a marriage so bad she accepted a random dude from another country that gave her the time of day. That was enough for her. It's incredible that a grown-ass woman, 54 years on this planet, had to endure all of this only to realize that movies are just fiction, just like her marriage.
But I wanted to live in paradise. I thought that's what was going to happen, but it didn't. I feel sad that I gave up my life. I feel it was just a waste and I shouldn't have given up my job and everything. And I really loved him and I thought he loved me, but he obviously didn't, so.
Hopefully the family arranged her some therapy. It's never too late to fall in love, but rushing things from 0 to 100 in a few weeks? Desperation can morph reality, turning everything into my side bias. That's when you need an external source, family and friends, people who have your back. So their input is precious to you. Love can blind you, but not let it kill you in the process. Thank you for watching.